and welcome back to another episode of Kaluno playing Satisfactory. Today we're going to do some quick build tips that I like to use for some of my aesthetics. This one I haven't used yet, but I will use in the future, is if you have the walkway pieces, you can have lifts coming up on either side of it in a single foundation piece. That way there, if you have items going underneath a building and or underneath a road, you can have them come up seamlessly inside of your base without it looking really weird and having a giant hole in the ground. You can see here you can also have them at different heights, which makes them quite useful, depending on if you're doing a top-load manifold system or if you're building everything on the floor. If you put everything on the floor, or at floor level for these, it has a nice kind of aesthetic to it where it looks like a oversized railing going down the middle. Looks like, maybe the player can actually get to it and do maintenance. So here's just, a view from above. You can see, it just takes up a 3x3 area. But this is extendable as well. You can kind of keep this going in a straight line for as long as you want. I mean, you could put every single ore in the entire game through just this one spot. Going on to the next thing, placing glass foundations. If you notice on the top of the glass foundation, there's that little white box, and it kind of makes like an L shape with the other two pieces. If it looks like an L to you and you place it, the beam in the middle of the glass is going to be facing away from you. If you place it and it looks like either the number 7 or any other side, it's a possibility that the bar is going to be going across. So when you're placing glass foundation quickly, if you use glass, as long as it looks like an L, you can place multiple, and it's good. Respectively, if you're placing it sideways like this, you just have to make sure that that L is aligned with where you want that bar in the middle, and it's good to go. It's a lot easier, however, if you place glass from below. I can show you here. Let me turn this on. If you place glass from below, however, you can see the bar the entire time. It makes it actually even quicker. Alright, moving on to the next tip, is stay consistent. If you look at this entire base that I'm building here, I have a consistent build layout throughout the entire thing. So I'm using like the pillars on each corner. I'm building most of my buildings the same size. I think it's a 10 by 10 square for the pillars, and then these are all 6 spaces apart for the pillars out here with glass in between them. So it's a very consistent build throughout the entire world, or at least this area. I mean, you can change it up area to area, but you want the areas that you're going to kind of be in to be their own designated thing and have them look consistent. Next little tip is always allow extra space. So you can see here I have some of my caterium turning into caterium wire, but I have all this extra space over here. That's good because in my current game I had just erased this entire floor basically, and now I have 40 constructors over here doing 2,400 quick wire per minute. You can also see up top I have extra space here. This building over here is where I've kind of learned this, is having the extra space is nice. These make reinforced plates and rotors, and there's not a lot of space left in there. But as you can see, even up here, extra space, which most of that's going to get filled in for making computers as well as motors. Alright, on to the next tip. Item spines. Whether you want them or not, you're going to need a way to transport items up and down between your floors. Why not do it in a decorative fashion? So here I have all mine on the back of my base. That way they kind of add an aesthetic to the back end. When you're looking at it, you can see all your pieces moving up and down from floor to floor, or going from wherever you build it down into your main storage area or into a train station. It just kind of looks nice. Plus, over here on this side, I have things that are kind of shooting across to make these weird bridges, and it looks more like a crazy factory kind of going across the middle, rather than just every single piece entering and exiting the same exact spot and having one single big item spine. I just decided to have them be a little bit more wonky, a little bit more crazy. It leaves a unique aesthetic, and it, in my opinion, looks a little bit cooler. So the next little quick tip is Overflow Splitters. So early on in the game, before you get the Smart Splitter, there's a way that you can create a almost perfect Overflow Splitter. The nice thing about this one is you can have 99% of your items go into a storage container, and then every like 1 out of 100 or so will go into like an awesome sink or something else. But you're just going to build this setup and repeat this same thing on the other side. And then what you're going to do is you're going to connect all of these pieces in between. So right here, you're going to connect all those to look something like this. I'm going to drop some concrete in here and you'll see. So down the center line here, you'll have that one piece which will go directly across. But then every other piece is going to get split every time it goes through a splitter and go out into one of the mergers and merge back into the same line. I think the ratio is, it's like 1/3 on the first one, and then you multiply that by 3, so it becomes like 1/9 on the second one, then like 1/28, and it just keeps exponentially growing. But eventually, once the manifold system on the outside, so it's kind of like a manifold system, once all the mergers fill up, everything else will be sent through the middle one. Now conversely, if you have smart splitters, which I'll show you, a smart splitter, all you need is one smart splitter. Designate its output to say the left or the right for whatever you want, and then designate the forward one as overflow, and then once the one side fills up, everything else will get put across to the top. Oh wait, let me add some more concrete real quick. It just filled up. So you can see here at this point, no more concrete is going to go to the sides because those are all full. Everything is going to go down the center, through all the splitters, up over this little lift hill, and then you could have an awesome sink on that side. Everything will go to an awesome sink. But then the smart splitter here, like I was saying, you set up the center one as overflow, left or the right as whatever you are looking for, so concrete in this case. And then I'll build a quick setup, and here you can see everything will go to the right until that little line is filled up. So say that's a storage container that's getting filled. Once that's filled up, everything else will go into the overflow and pull out the front. Now, that being said, if anything got taken out of your inventory, this line would stop doing the overflow, fill up your storage, and then go back to the overflow. Alright, another quick tip. Build off the ground. Doing this allows you to build over rocks, building over trees and shrubs, as well as giving you space underneath if you ever wanted to run trains on the ground. It's extremely beneficial. You don't have to use as much concrete then to get up into the air, but it also gives you the ability to build, say, a manifold system underneath your base rather than everything on ground level or above your base. The other nice thing about building off the ground is you can build these mass bus lines, so you don't have to worry about everything looking like a giant spaghetti factory. Which leads me into another tip. Use mixed foundations. So you can see here as I'm going around my base, I have a combination of glass, I have a combination of pillars, I have a combination of the regular foundations, but just switch it up here and there. Don't use the same exact piece everywhere. Yes, that's being consistent, but then it just looks kind of like a giant square, and I don't think anyone's built a board cube yet in this game, but I mean, if you want to, go ahead. It's your game, you can do with it as you please, but it just might not look as aesthetically pleasing as something like my space elevator foundation. You can even see here some of these circular buildings were built using the area action mod. I use it to place the foundations either using the build cost or using like a few pieces as a starter piece. I don't know if you've seen my coal generator video, but I highly recommend watching that one. So in that one, I placed the pieces and then placed blocks around it and then deleted the original ones that I placed. Which leads me into the next tip. The pipe T connector that you see here can be placed before placing the pipe. So you can see here, you can rotate it and place it wherever you need to. It makes some nice 45-degree turns depending on how you place it. But then you can also see here, there's a glitch where it'll place in one direction but not the other. So sometimes you just need to turn it and then it'll place. Also, this is something that I just did. If you saw my post on Reddit, I have pipe going through my top pillar foundation pieces down here, which is another aesthetically pleasing kind of thing to do. For me, it works really well. I like that the fact that the water can go right underneath a bridge that I already built, which didn't really have enough space on top of the bus line to run more water. So underneath, it looks really cool, and it looks like it's actually supported by the bridge. Well, and lastly, just have fun. I mean, this game is massive. I've played over 135 plus hours in this game so far, and it doesn't seem like it's slowing down at all. It seems like there's still a lot that I can do. There's still a lot that I can build. This is my base as is. I'll probably be doing another base tour video here soon, but just have fun. So with that, this is Kaluno Gaming signing off for the day. Have a good day. Didn't even get to cross.